Good day everyone, I am Mary Joy. In this video, we will discuss some techniques that will help the students repeat, review and remember the lessons, which certainly assist them to wrap it up, reinforce, apply and practice what they have learned from the discussions. The 10-minute trainer book offers a range of exercises ranging from 1 to 10 minutes in length, and offers exercises related to content as well as activities for transitioning and gauging comprehension between topics. You will find a helpful response section explaining the brain science behind the book and a special section on learning styles that links to the learn it quickly and make it last theory. If you're interested about the topic just like this one, then keep on watching.
Signals is one of the 140 Get a Minute activities. It is a hand or body motion or a choral response used by learners to answer a question or demonstrate their understanding of a concept. One of the most widely used signals trainers tell participants to use is raise your hand if, followed by a topic-related statement. Signals help the learners highlight useful information. Signals through visuals can be simple, like using bold text or color. It is signaling that something has importance. Using vocal emphasis with audio also signals importance. Pointing gestures may be an effective form of visual signaling when the learner might not otherwise know where to look on the screen. Signals can be unusual sounds and motions too. They can be also learner-created. Signals involve all learners and add a kinesthetic element to lecture. By using this strategy, learners won't be bored and their attention will be focused on the lecture. What does a signal do to the learners? Signals help the learners to remain awake and involved in the lecture. It helps the learners think what they have heard and make some opinion-based decision about what they have learned. It also helps the learners to interact with the new information in quick, low-risk ways and stay focused on the material being presented. What does a signal do to the trainers? Signals does not only helps the learner in learning, it also helps the trainer to check the learner's understanding of important material and decide what, if anything, to reteach. It also helps the trainer to add a small degree of levity to her lecture and involve the learners in her lecture without sacrificing time or informational flow. Example: a trainer uses hand signals to get the attention of the students in discussions. Signals activity in the classroom. During class sessions, teacher gives signals as a sign that the learners must settle down before the teacher starts her class. This will set the good atmosphere inside the classroom. Today, since the pandemic has begun, everything is already new, including the teaching style of the trainers or instructors. There are many things that needs to be changed in order to adjust in this present situation. Online class is now the new classroom or platform for the trainers and learners. Thus, the teaching style of the trainers is also modified. Speaking of teaching style, signals activity is the recommended and effective way for learning. It will be easy for learners to understand the lessons, interact with new information they have learned, and remember the learnings they have heard during the activity. Signals and the principle of learning. This technique correlates on the two fundamental training principles of the 21st century. First, shorter segments of instructions are better than longer ones. Signals is a short segment learning technique. Short yet simple and clear instructions are most likely easy for the learners to understand rather than long yet complex instructions. It is also included in the principles that learners remembers more when they are involved in learning. Thus, learners are encouraged to participate in the learning sessions by using this effective technique. Signals activity encourages learners to involve themselves in learning. Signals can also be used in the corrective phase of learning process. It is something that is stopping unwanted behavior in class so that learners will focus their attention in the class.
Hi everyone, I am Debbie and we will be talking about one specific 60 seconds activity and in improving the learner's retention of important information, and we will correlate it to the principles. The power of images. Doodles help the learners in creating images, icons, lines, shapes, drawings, cartoons, symbols, stick figures, and logos to represent a topic-related fact or concept. Doodles helps the learners in creating own images in their mind related to the pictures presented in the class. It is also a way of helping them to retain lessons in the long-term memory easily. Doodles does not only include drawings, but is also the graphical images that the teachers wanted the students to understand. The challenges in the 21st century learning to the teachers and the whole educators is to catch the full attention of the students and make the learning fun and enjoyable. What does a doodle do to a learner? Although this is only a 60-second activity, do not underestimate the power of doodles. It is the best way to use in transferring information from short-term to the long-term memory. It helps the learner use the both hemispheres of the brain to learn. It also helps the students in remembering information longer than they would if they just listen to the class lectures and writing down notes. It also gives the left brain a break and uses the right brain for visual and picture-based. It represents concepts in a more interesting and creative way. The learners will be having fun in learning because of the endorphins chemicals released by the brain, and they will have access to the power of the visual images. Example: imagine that you are the class instructor and you let them doodle the lessons that they learn and explain it to their seatmates. See? You are imagining things too, because the brain decodes on what they see and the picture things out even if the only words are written that serves as an instruction. The importance of imagery. Imagery is not just important for the students, but to the whole human being that seeks for the revenue of learning. Our ancestors in 1400s uses imagery to illustrate and survive in the old age. The usage of their five senses helps them to communicate their feelings to each other, to hunt for food, and draw patterns and languages in the caves. It is a proof that the human brain works in different ways. The early age uses more functions in the right side of the brains. In the 1500s to the 20th century, the shift from image-based to text-based books was published. It is where the left brain was used in understanding text. The power of storytelling disappeared. The power of storytelling disappeared. But here's the comeback of the images. In the 1950s, the most influential medium in this generation came out, and that is the television. Television has to do with the strategies of learning in this generation. It has a strong influence and impact in this generation. The children learn easily through YouTubes and watching cartoons. My cousins are very good in speaking English and reading books because of the cartoons that they used to watch. The fever of Peppa Pig cartoons gives them a British accent in speaking English. See? The power of the right side of the brain to imitate and store long-term memory is inevitable. Doodles and the attention maker, attention breaker. The brain doesn't stop learning because of the five senses. If the five senses keeps on working, it does not stop transmitting images to the brains. And here is the rectangular activating system, or the RAS. The power of imagery is correlated to the attention maker. Attention breaker are known as reticular activating system, or RAS. The attention maker is located near the brain stem. It is the part of the brain that controls the fight or flight response to send electronic signals to the brain stem through the limpid or emotional brain to the cerebrum, which made the human person think. The job of the attention maker is to observe and pay attention to what is going on in the environment. The second job is to break the attention that leads the cerebrum to do certain actions automatically. For example, the shift of the student's learning environment. When the teacher is not yet around in the classroom, the students will pay attention to their classmates or to anything that will catch their attention. It is either playing games on their iPads, cell phones, playing with their circle of friends, in the classroom, sleeping in their chairs, eating, singing, and listening to music, and watching to the window. When the students will saw the teacher entering the classroom, the students will suddenly shift to different modes because their mind is aware of their actions. They see that the teacher is coming. That is the power of catching the student's attention. The reticular activating system in the classroom. Catching the student's attention. Teaching in this 21st century is about catching the student's attention. Since the student's attention span nowadays is short, it is a challenge for the teachers to catch their attention. Entering the classroom will already catch the students' attention, but the problem here is to catch their attention in learning and help them retain lessons easily and store it in the long-term memory. That's why the teachers need to prepare the doodles or imagery activities. It is effective for the learners to use the right side of the brain in making activities and responses to the class discussion. The instructors need to do something that will catch their attention and activate the attention maker inside the brain of the students. The Pomodoro technique will be applicable since short lectures and breaks will be given in order for them to absorb the lessons and create better ideas and establish focus. To sum up everything, here is the key points. The brain needs to be used both sides to retain lessons, and the right brain transfers information to long-term memory easily. The images, storytelling, and sounds will activate the reticular activating system of the students and catch their attention. Students learn better when they enjoy the class activities. Doodles and the principles of learning. The first principle is shorter segments of instructions are better than longer ones. Second, learners remember more when they are involved in learning. Giving shorter segments of instructions are better than longer ones because learners in the 21st century has a short span of attention. If the instructions and lectures are too long, and the learners might get bored and find things that will catch their attention. In short, their focus will be lost. Students learn better when they are involved in learning. It will help the students remember the terms and ideas in engaging them into games and other activities. What does Doodle do? Doodles create images and graphics that will help the students learn easily. In giving short instructions, such as letting the students doodle about what they have learned in the class discussion, will make them active because there is a new avenue for them in learning. This is maybe a simple activity, but will give the students a deep understanding about the topic. In a simple instruction, the learners learn more and remember more when they are engaging in the learning activities itself. It will catch their attention and transfer the information to the long-term memory easily.
In a traditional learning system, you turn out to be bored and out of focus because of too much information being fed to you. Thus, your brain becomes more tedious. So one of the techniques of a quick way to repeat, review, and remember the lessons is through an engaging learning called pair share. So what is a pair share? It is also called a dyad dialogue or a neighbor nudge. This activity is the easiest and psychologically the safest way to invite learners to participate in the class discussion. Each learner turns to another person and engages in a short discussion about something that is topic related. It is very important to draw some connection learning to the student in order for them to be more comfortable and at ease to share their knowledge or ideas to the other learner they are paired with, which is basically explain the significance of the three brains in one, also called the triune brain, of how important the feeling of psychological safety in the learning experience and process of the student, and how to create that feeling of safety through learner-to-learner connections and involvement. By that, the learner is more willing to participate and be involved more in the class discussion. What does a pair share do? Surely, it will help the students review information in an easy, quick, low-risk way. It will help them remember what they just heard, link what they just heard with what they already know, connect with each other in order to build a safe learning community, be more comfortable with interaction and active involvement in the learning. As being said in the 10-minute trainer, human brain likes to learn, whether the feeling of pleasure comes from the brain's release of endorphins or from the human spirit's desire to self-actualize. The fact remains left to itself. Without outside interference, the human brain always chooses to learn, directed only by its own needs, desires, curiosity, or strong emotions. This brain's attention maker is also called the reticular activating system. As you draw connection to your partner, it catches your attention and be motivated in participating such activity with your pair. It helps you review information, remember or retain easily what topic has been discussed, and easily share your ideas since you have just built connection. Therefore, you will be more active and participative throughout the learning process. It is more important for us to share our ideas and essential to listen to the ideas of other people so that we can have more understanding about a certain topic. So when learners participate in a pair share, we will expect to see them to turn and talk to someone they are sitting next to, listen as the other person is talking, become involved in the class discussion about the topic, feel more at ease with each other and with the topic, be more willing to ask questions, and most importantly, be more awake, alert, and interested as the lecture goes on. So in the Learning Compass, it was said in this 10-minute trainer book, you are directed with the 4 steps in learning the natural way. In a compass, there is north, south, east, and west direction. Through pair share activity, you can be guided by this learning compass where one from the pair shares his or her ideas and knowledge about the topic, and the other listens to what the partner is sharing. So the north represents yourself. In pair sharing, the learner decides what information or skill she wants to learn or he wants to learn, why he or she wants to learn it, and what he or she already knows and has experience related to the subject being discussed. So the east represents others. The learner finds out what other people know about the subject, which is the main purpose of the pair sharing, which she or he can express her ideas or his ideas through sharing the information she or he had learned. South represents information. Here, the learner begins to gather new information to add what he or she and others know. She may or he may gather this information a number of different ways, through books, real-life experiences, college classes, the internet, or self-study programs, even lessons and training. This piece of information will be shared. So the west represents action. Here, the learner puts the new knowledge to use, practice a skill, or does something with what he or she has learned. This will help them to remember what they just heard and what they will be able to connect with each other through the sharing activity. So throughout the process, this will also help the students to be more cooperative and attentive in the discussion because both of them have a responsibility, and that is to share their insights. Previously, on how to ace an exam, it was said that brain is naturally lazy. So a quick review, repeat, and remembering of the lessons to be done in a pair sharing activity applies the two fundamental training principles of the 21st century, which is shorter segments of instructions are better than longer ones, and learners remember more when they are involved in the learning process. Longer discussions, as I've said earlier, makes the class boring. Making it in a shorter phase motivates the students to be more active and participative. It is also helpful for them to have a more application activity than purely theoretical discussion, which is too much for the brain to be absorbed. This active view of learning is a dynamic process that requires learners to actively choose and evaluate strategies, consider resources, and receive feedback, resulting to get the learners' creative juices flowing. It will spark a lot of spin-off ideas in a variations of activities that will work even better for them.
Hello everyone. So for now, I will be going to tackle all about Grab That Spoon activity with a tagline, Want a Spoon? Want a 5-minute game that takes no preparation beforehand? Want a game that engages learners in a fun yet memorable way without a lot of time wasted in setting it up? Want a game that helps learner review information they heard, that increases retention, and that can be played a number of different ways? Enter Grab That Spoon. So what is Grab That Spoon? Grab That Spoon is a quick review game with a dash of friendly competition. It's a game in which everyone participates regardless of the size of the group. Learners sit in small groups and take turns asking each other questions for points or tokens. The person who first grabs a plastic spoon gets to answer the question. So what does Grab That Spoon do? Grab That Spoon is a high-energy way to review material quickly and easily. Add friendly competition to the review. Allow learners to generate the review questions. Include physical actions in a seated learning activity. Give learners time to discuss their own understanding of the training concepts. And lastly, take a topic-related, competitive break from the lecture. So I have here an example. Imagine that your teacher have a game. She divided you into 6 groups with 4 members. So all of you instructed to write a review question and answer on an index card and writes a point value for the question on the card. Then, a spoon is placed in the middle of the table. Joy, your classmate, volunteers to be the first reader. Joy may not grab the spoon and reads aloud her question. The first group member to grab the spoon and answer the question with a correct answer gets the point. The importance of Grab That Spoon. This game allows the learners to generate the review information, to participate in it, and to discuss their own understanding of the material learned. The 10-minute trainer is based in the two fundamentals training principles of the 21st century. So, the first principle is shorter segment of instructions are better than longer ones, where I can relate this in Grab That Spoon activity because short instructions make the class enjoyable and not boring, and the longer ones can make the learners bored or not interested. And second principle is learners remember more when they are involved in learning, where they can learn easily if they are physically involved and if there is a twist in the game. So I can relate this game into the attention maker, attention breaker, or what we call the reticular activating system. So as you all know, there are two specific jobs. First, make your thinking brain pay attention to what is going on and break or stop your thinking brain's attention. So I have here an example. By the way, these examples are based on a Grab That Spoon activity. So as you can see, this is the first example. When you are listening to the question while thinking the correct answer. So through this example, you can apply the first job which can make your thinking brain pay attention. So in the second example, because of the adrenaline rush and distractions, you answered the wrong answer. So through that example, it applies the second job where you break or stop your thinking brain's attention. Final thoughts. A game is only as useful as its purpose and its content. As an activity that reviews crucial information in a quick, relevant, high-energy way that involves all learners, Grab That Spoon fits the bill. Use it and enjoy watching your learners take an active part in their own learning.
Each one is a simple technique for imparting small pieces of understanding to a group, one student at a time. Learners pair up and teach each other what they just learned, give each other feedback, practice a skill together, coach each other as they practice, and provide mutual support by encouraging each other. It allows the teacher rare one-on-one instructional time and lets you select lessons appropriate to particular student learning styles, energy levels, and personalities. The best way for a learner to reinforce, apply, and practice any new skill is to teach it to someone else. With each one teach one, expect to see learners to demonstrate a new skill, give each other feedback about how well they are modeling the skill, coach each other as they practice the new skill, discuss what they learned, ask each other's question, encourage each other, and provide mutual support for ongoing learning. As a teaching method, it can be used with almost any subject or content area that can be divided into small bits. Each one teach one has its steps, and the first step is to tell participants they will have an opportunity to practice a skill or teach each other what they just learned in the training. Direct them to form standing pairs. If there is an odd number of the participants, one pair can become a triad. Second, one person in the pair is the learner, the other person is the coach. The learner demonstrates the new skill while explaining it to the coach. The coach gives the learner positive feedback, encouragement, and any help that she may need. Third, the partners change roles. They practice the demonstration coaching session again. If there is no skill to practice, pairs can take turns teaching each other training concepts, explain the concept in their own words, or discussing ways to use the information in real-life situations. End the activity with partners giving each other a round of applause. The last step is to process the activity with a few quick questions for the whole group. What was the most important thing you learned? How did you feel about your skills? What was helpful about having a coach? And What other questions came up during the activity? Each One Teach One combines listening, speaking, individual, and group instruction and creates an exciting and active context for outdoor learning. It can be tailored to many learning styles and personalities. This can be observed in the two fundamental training principles of the 10-minute trainer. The first principle, which is the shorter segment of instructions are better than longer ones, is when learners have their agreed time to either be the coach or be the one being taught. Second is when learners remember more when they are involved in learning. This is where participants in Teach One, Each One are both involved throughout the process.